Computed tomography is an indispensable imaging tool in the evaluation of orbital lesions. The CT scan of the orbit allows us to discern the location, extent, and configuration of the orbital lesion and its effect on adjacent structures. It also allows us to comment on the possible tissue composition. In addition, knowing the precise location of a lesion facilitates the planning of the appropriate surgical approach to minimize morbidity. This video is an attempt to provide a practical guide to the interpretation of ocular and orbital CT scans. The CT scan is most informative when the ophthalmologist seeks the active participation of the radiologist in the diagnostic workup. The prerequisites which need to be discussed with the radiologist include slice thickness, imaging planes, tissue windows, the need for contrast medium, and special modifications if any. Spatial resolution of a CT scan depends on the slice thickness. The thinner the slice, the higher is the resolution. Usually, 2 mm cuts are optimal for the eye and the orbit. Routine CT scan of the orbit involves the axial view as well as coronal view. However, reformatted sagittal views have a special application in cases of trauma. The tissue window refers to the selection of a small range of Hounsfield units from its available spectrum to decipher the finer details of the tissue of interest. Each tissue window has a specific window width and window level. Thus, we have the bone window, the soft tissue window, the brain window, and so on. The soft tissue window is best for evaluating the orbital soft tissue lesions, whereas fractures and bony lesions are better seen with bone window settings. Contrast study involves imaging the area of interest after intravenous injection of a radiological contrast medium. Fortunately, the orbital fat provides an intrinsic background contrast, and most orbital pathologies can be easily visualized without infusion of a contrast medium. In certain situations, however, contrast medium is essential. Certain cases such as orbital venous varix may need special cuts during the Valsalva maneuver. For a complete and systematic evaluation of any CT scan, it is mandatory to familiarize oneself with the CT plates provided by the radiologist. It is ideal to have a large X-ray viewer box which can simultaneously display at least 2 plates. One should begin interpreting the CT scan by noting the various components of a CT plate, which include patient data, the type of CT scan, and laterality. To orient yourself to the axial scans, begin with the lateral scout view that shows the exact location of the planes chosen for axial slices. It is usually displayed as the first image on the plate, preceding the serial axial images. Axial images are serially arranged starting from lower axial scans and moving upwards within the orbit. Evaluation of coronal scans too should begin with the lateral scout view. By convention, coronal images are arranged to progress from the anterior plane to the posterior plane within the orbit. The images depicting the globe are anterior coronal images, whereas posterior coronal sections demonstrate the optic nerve and extraocular muscles. The cross-sectional size of the orbital cavity reduces as we move posteriorly. The relevant technical parameters such as slice thickness, Hounsfield units, window width, and level are usually depicted next to the image. Let us begin to identify the normal findings on a CT scan. Begin your evaluation with the bony orbital wall. The axial view is preferred for evaluating the lateral and medial wall, superior orbital fissure, and the optic canal. The orbital floor and roof are best seen in coronal sections. The vertical and horizontal orbital dimensions should be measured or compared on coronal scans. The roof is formed by the frontal bone anteriorly and by the lesser wing of sphenoid posteriorly. The lacrimal gland fossa is a shallow excavation anterolaterally. The floor is the shortest orbital wall formed by the orbital plates of maxillary, zygomatic and palatine bones. Blowout fractures and bony erosions of the floor should be evaluated on coronal scans. The medial orbital wall can be demonstrated by axial scan as well as coronal scan and is formed by the frontal process of maxilla, lacrimal, ethmoid and the body of sphenoid. In lower axial scans, the bony nasolacrimal duct can be occasionally seen within the bony medial wall. The lateral wall forms a 45 degrees angle with the mid-sagittal plane and is formed by the zygomatic bone anteriorly and the greater wing of the sphenoid posteriorly. On axial scan, it shows a slight convexity in its posterior part, then becomes flat in the mid portion and finally becomes concave anteriorly. The paranasal sinuses can be evaluated collectively by looking at the coronal and axial scans. The orbital apex is anatomically defined as the region between the posterior ethmoidal foramen anteriorly and the openings of the optic canal and superior orbital fissure posteriorly. The superior orbital fissure is the largest communication between the orbit and the middle cranial fossa and on mid-axial scans is seen to communicate with the cavernous sinus. In the upper axial scans, the optic canal lies medial to the anterior clinoid process. The inferior orbital fissure is seen in lower axial scans and posterior coronal scan. The sclera, choroid, and retina together form a well-defined ring that enhances with contrast. They cannot be differentiated from each other. The lens appears white and the vitreous black. The extraocular muscles are well visualized on CT scan and run parallel to the adjacent orbital wall. These appear like flat bands that run parallel to the corresponding bony wall. The extraocular muscles and the fibrous tissue septa connecting them form the muscle cone and divide the orbit into intraconal and extraconal spaces, a division of radiodiagnostic importance. The lids, the conjunctiva, and the orbital septum together form an anterior soft tissue density. The lacrimal gland lies within its fossa superiotemporally and can be seen on high axial as well as anterior coronal scans. The two most important structures within the intraconal space in terms of CT visualization are optic nerve and the superior ophthalmic vein. The cavernous sinus lies behind the orbital apex and is particularly well visualized with contrast enhancement. We have described the relevant sectional anatomy of the eye and orbit as seen on CT scan and the basics of computed tomography. It is important for an ophthalmologist to first understand this basic information and then begin to critically analyze each CT scan.